Live on YouTube, and we're a few minutes late. Those that are, let's get you on Instagram. No, not what I wanted to discard. Let's go live. All right, go away. All right, we are live on, I think, everywhere.
Everywhere that we can be.
Everywhere. Welcome, everybody. We are a few minutes late because we were having techie issues, but what do you do? What do you do? Welcome to Conversations for Clarity. I am Stephanie, and I am just excited to be here every Wednesday. This is just not just. I'm trying to get just out of my vocabulary. Maybe we talk about words today. We come together every Wednesday, and the first Wednesday of every month is just an open conversation. And I'm excited to see what comes about today.
And we honestly never really know what we're going to talk about. We kind of just come on and go with the flow and see what pops up. And I'm Celeste, also known as Mothering Healing on Facebook and Instagram. And I too am just so thrilled to be here every Wednesday. It is the highlight of my week to just sit here and have these conversations with you and everyone that decides to join us. So thank you.
I'm actually getting this shared in our courtyard group right now. So give me a minute and I'll get it shared over on your page as well. Share on a friend's profile. This high-techy world we live in.
Right?
Where I do this all. Okay. All right. So what are we going to talk about?
No, what do you want to talk about?
I'm going to put an invite out there. Let's invite any of you guys that have a conversation that you want to talk about. Maybe we do little mini sessions today. Just really open up the floor to you. Open up the floor to all of you to have different perspective. Kind of go back to the old days when we started this. I think we're almost, no, we're probably still a couple months, almost coming up on a year of these conversations. And
close.
Yeah, the more we do them, I just love when we get some guests that join us and want to conversate with us. So I invite you to call in.
That's the best, when people hop on and converse with us.
It's my favorite. I'm actually going to add the call-in number right now to my Instagram. Yeah, we're all off our game today. So 1 second, folks. 1 second, folks. 835 2896. Okay. All right. So if you're listening in Conversations for Clarity, let's just talk. In fact, I think it's been a while. Let's actually kind of talk about the origin of what this call was about. Does that sound good?
The origin, yeah, go for it.
It's been a while. So Celeste and I, we met February before the big old shutdown, lockdown. I posted on a community connecting networking page here in Utah about just looking for those that wanted to build a conscious community. And, you know, we hear about it all the time. Like we're all getting called to build these communities, tribes, soul families, you know, whatever resonates with you. But we ended up meeting and just both felt it, like knew that there was something there. And we just kept the conversations going. March hit last year where we all went to this, what do we do? and Celeste kept getting a hit from friends, family, you know, just get your message out there. And we were just in a conversation once, and let's do this. Let's just start having a conversation every week about life and about different things. And we jumped on, and we are the proof that you could just take steps and move forward in creating dreams, creating conversations.
We should go back and watch the first couple together. See how far we've come. Because there have been some learning curves. But you know, We have had some really amazing, fantastic conversations. I mean, there have even been some magical ones. So
Oh,
that's what it's about, right? It's about just allowing ourselves to be open and vulnerable and share different perspectives with people and just let everybody know that they're seen and that they have value, and we're here for you.
yeah. And we actually had a conversation earlier in a collaboration group, which the Courtyard's a part of, just having like really seeing how much we each bring our gifts and that things are opening up for people. I feel like there's so many people awakening, is, just saying there's more to life than just this grind. And, I feel like I have enough people around me that I can always have these conversations. But this is a space for those that are, wanting to dabble and explore and maybe don't feel comfortable in their network of people to talk about. I mean, we've talked about the whole gamut of things. I mean, going through a pandemic and having a weekly conversation has brought some very interesting calls. Yeah. And, like, it's just so important to be able to have space to share and talk about really what matters in life. And so we've talked about suicide awareness, prevention, opening up that conversation, aliens.
Aliens.
That one was a fun one. Obviously, we've over the last couple of months are bringing in human design more and just opening that. So today is just generic. Let's talk about life.
Whatever you want to talk about.
You guys want to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's actually piggyback a question that came in after our call last week. I pulled out my Gene Key cards and we were pulling cards for those that just said, hey, I want a card. And somebody asked through a message, what does this mean? What are you doing with these cards? And I realized, like I shared it with you, that we forget that some people don't know about this stuff. So
as I'm sitting here shuffling cards.
see, you didn't even know I didn't even know I was going to bring that up. So what is the cards? How the cards support you? What is, and where did they come from for you?
The cards are just another great tool, especially if you're just starting to step into your awareness and listen to your intuition. The cards don't lie. I promise you this. They don't lie. And they're really just a tool to support what you truly already know within, but you allow your mind to fight you on. So usually, and when we say cards, we're talking about, like oracle cards, tarot cards, whatever you want to call them, angel message cards. People call them many different things. And what you want to do is, if you have a deck of cards or you're thinking about them or you're wondering about them, usually I tell people you want to touch every card when you first open them, because they're generic. They're from a machine in a shop, and you want to touch every one of them just to kind of add your energy to them, maybe even allow yourself the opportunity to read each one of them and actually look at them. And most decks come with a book that gives you descriptions of it. But I always like to tell people to just, kind of shuffle them, think about a question you might have or an intention. And then there's so many different ways to do it. Some people will just shuffle until one pops out. When you're shuffling something, all of a sudden one card either jumps out of the deck or it'll just stick out a little bit and you'll be like, instead of pushing it back down in the deck, pull it out and take a look at it. That's probably one that's for you. Some people like to fan them all out and then kind of just take a breath and feel and see which one. And I like playing with this method because if you're just dabbling in energy, this is a great one. Because if you really allow yourself, you can almost feel like a magnet. You can feel when you pass a card, and then as you go past it, it's almost like your hand doesn't want to go anymore. And it gets like pulled, and it's very subtle, very, very subtle until you learn to tune into it. But it helps you find the right area and exactly which card is best for you.
I love using your non-dominated hand for it because it just kind of gives you that leg up you know, you're used to using your, whatever your dominant hand is. And
yes. Yeah. So, and then they're just great. You know, a lot of times it'll give you the answer to your question, or it'll give you some kind of guidance, and they're just wonderful. They're fabulous. And it's truly your connection to your higher self, and then taking that card and letting you answer your own question. But it's just a tool. It's just a tool to strengthen what you already have inside of you.
I remember clear as day my first experience with cards. Not my first, okay. I had tarot, or reading tarot cards, and then I gathered with some women. It was like a little meditation group that we had, and we just did a in-person gathering, and somebody's like, oh, let's do cards. And I'm like, cards? What do you mean cards? And so I pull them up and they shuffle, and I just ask a question. And so I asked a question, and I was like, that was like perfect, exact, like my whole body vibrated, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And so I went, this is those that are new to cards, and I went and bought the deck. It's actually my Ascended Masters. It's a common one that this guy, Bearing Virtue, a lot of people have. Yeah. So I went and bought it because I'm like, I don't know where to start. And I just did like what you said. It just really, it's not a daily practice for me. It's just that when I get a hit, I'll do it. So, you know, just, you can go on Amazon or go to these beautiful crystal shops that we have, you know, most cities have them, and just kind of go and sit with them. Just say, which one is for me? And just start with that one. And you don't have to know anything about it. Like, I've seen some beautiful, like, some very random styles of decks. And I was like, like, I wouldn't have thought about that being a wisdom deck or something, you know. And so just go with what feels good and just play with it. Just play.
Absolutely. And, you know, again, it's a tool. But the funny thing is, like any tool, they can play with you. You know, like I have some people that'll like ask their question and they get the answer and they're like, oh, and then they'll reshuffle because they don't like the answer, you know. And it's like, no, they'll play with you. The universe, your higher self, it'll be like, no, I already told you, screw you, now I'm going to give you this.
Yeah, and that was actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking about that, my first experience, when I was saying that they answered it. I remember one of the girls pulling one, and she's like, like, basically, I don't want this answer. And so we, like, what was really cool, and I'm so grateful, was my first experience, is then we just went around and essentially asked, what does this card mean to you? Like, what was your first thoughts when you see this card? And the advice was within those conversations of each of us just tapping in. And like, I remember it was like she didn't want to hear it, but it was it was her higher self giving it to her. She just didn't want, like, she didn't want to see it from the cards.
Right.
And yeah. And I remember a couple of times, like, we went back and shuffled them and pulled it back out, because we're like, oh, that actually doesn't work for us. And it was like, we did a collective card, and I remember Christina was in this group with me, and we pulled it. We're like, no, because it was, we wanted something to move as this little group of ours. And the card we pulled was, it's like, it's perfect as it is right now. And all of us were like, no, we want it to move. And so we like put it back in, and we're like waiting till, and it's like, wait a minute. What if that advice was perfect? And that our group stayed, like, there wasn't the movement that we thought, because there was some lessons in what we were creating that needed, that the growth wouldn't have served it. It was pretty cool to look back. At the moment, we're like, no, we don't want that.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, so cool.
There are so many different tools out there, you know, and what I just try to always remind people that they are just tools.
Yeah.
You know, you have the answers inside of you, but when you're just starting these tools, because I know for me, and I just ended that sentence, for me, when I was starting my healing, all the healing classes that I was doing, and my intuition classes, I came upon one of the classes that I teach that I'm going to be doing online pretty soon, is the Chakra Balancing class using a pendulum. And if you've ever played with a pendulum, they're great for asking yes and no questions, or, you know, you can use them like a Ouija board, you know, but it's better to not dabble in those areas. But the point is, it was just a tool to confirm what I already knew inside. And by using this, it helped me to be able to grow more confident in my own abilities. Because I would use the chakra stones just like you do in Reiki, and I would use them for distance healing for people. So I would attach each chakra stone to their chakras, and then I would ask the pendulum to show me if the chakra was blocked or unblocked or healthy, or, you know what I mean, what was going on. And then once the pendulum showed me, I would send healing energy to balance it out. And then I would look at what that meant if that chakra was blocked. But internally, I knew, I just wasn't trusting it. So by using that tool, it helped me to be able to have confidence in the information that I was receiving. And then I was able to let it go and just trust what I was getting for information and share that. So tools are really fabulous when you're first starting out.
I think that like it's a bridge, you know, the analogy of a bridge coming, like when I, you know, this, the secret was, like I've said it many times, my gateway, where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this really cool thing about law of attraction and all this. And I remember in the first quite a few years, I would hear people say, you know, the truth lies within you. And I would get so mad because I didn't know what that meant. Because here, like I've been conditioned and programmed to think that other people had the answers for me, that, you know, a religious teaching, you know, Jesus Christ, my savior, like all of these things outside of myself. And so it was really frustrating at first to hear that, because I do believe that the tools and I've come full circle, like, yes, all of my answers are within. At any given moment, I can go to source energy. I am part of source energy, but the tools are so helpful in that bridge of trusting yourself, because we have been conditioned and programmed to not trust ourselves. And got Johnny the Appleseed.
Yeah, I got seeds.
Yeah, Johnny Appleseed.
Hey!
Good.
All right, bye, Johnny Appleseed.
Oh my gosh. Tools. They are so cute. So yeah, it's like, and that's part of, I'm glad we're segueing, like that's why these conversations are so important, of talking about the different tools. Some resonate. Crystals, for one, I love the power of them. I felt them. They're not something I use often, but I know that they work, and I know that there's beautiful powers, because some people can put them on their heart and it opens up their heart space, and then that's connecting them to their higher self, their guidance. But I remember a lot, like in the very beginning, and I've gotten the question from people. I attract people that are new to their awakening. I have for years, and it's like, well, how do I get to where you're at? And I was like, there's no getting to where I'm at, for one, but here are a few things that really helped me. Journals, human design, and gene keys has been, you know, one of the biggest ones for me, and I know for you. The cards, like I don't use them all the time, you know, they're just tools, that the answers are within you. But if you're kind of new to all of this, don't get frustrated. The right tool, the right mentor, the right guidance will come when you're ready for it, or when it's the right time for you.
And it will change. It will change. Like I am always pushing my students to branch out and go look for other classes, because I don't want to be anyone's guru. I don't want to be anyone's anything. You know what I mean? I just want to empower you to find and unlock what is inside of you. And the more that we can experience, then the more we find what that truly is. You know what I mean? It's not, for me, it hasn't been one thing. It's been pieces of everything that I've done. Everything. Even things that didn't turn out well, all have merit and have lessons and things that they've given me. You know what I mean?
And even the tools are not necessarily spiritual tools. There's like things within, like just being in my inner, like daily life, like the power of presence. Eckhart Tolle, like that's not a tool, but as I'm like going through my life and I take a moment to pause and to be present, that has served me in ways that, other things. So it's just about that, just being open and aware of what will come to you is perfect. Do you have somebody writing a question or?
No. Guess what? I don't think I made it go live. Sorry, guys. If you were waiting for me to be on Instagram and I didn't post it today, I apologize.
Right now?
I thought I did, but I don't know what's going on.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My button's not letting me. Oh, well, I tried.
Head on over to Stephanie's site and
Yeah, not that you can hear me, but I'll just repost it. I'll just repost Stephanie's.
oh goodness.
Didn't we start out by talking about technology and how crazy it's been for us over the years? I mean,
when you were saying let's go back and watch and see what we've learned, but then we haven't learned. You just don't force it and you don't go with, you just go with it. So
no, and that's the beauty of it. You just roll with it.
Go with it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I tried. I don't know what's wrong with it. It doesn't want to work this morning. Whoops.
And now you're going to be throwing us across the room pretty soon.
No, I would never do that. Oh, but yeah, I'm glad we talked about tools because they are very important. I mean, they were very important to me. It just helped me really stand firm in my confidence.
And I guess my final thought on that, and then we can move on, but it's always check in. So if you hear me say go within, or you hear people say go within, and that triggers something that did for me for years, just check in with yourself. And you could ask a simple question: is this right for me right now?
Right.
And if you get a warm, comfortable feeling, go with it. If you get a icky, I'm sacral, so mine's yes or no, but depending on what you're designed, if you get that icky feeling, then just put it aside. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means right now it's not for you.
Exactly. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's perfect. I'm going to try this one more time.
All right. Well, Janice joined us. Hey, Janice. We're just shooting the shit today. It's our opener conversation. So if you have any questions or a topic that you want us to chat about, feel free to message it or join in.
Oh, look, it went this time.
Yay, we are live on Mothering Healing finally.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what was going on with my phone, but it did not want to go live. So you're half of Conversations for Clarity this week.
Oh, good. Janice is making lunch and listening. Ooh.
Oh, nice. What's for lunch? We were just talking about food. So what's next? Anything you want to know about Janice?
There was something else that popped for me earlier when I was hopping on. What was it? Numerology at 12:30, 3:3. Veggie pitas, yummy.
Oh, well, there.
Yeah. I've been craving veggies. What's that?
Sounds right up my alley.
I have been craving veggies like no other lately. Like it yummy. And like when I eat them, it's like literally, and Janice probably laughed because I know she's really big into the veggies and the good foods, but I like feel so energized. Like it's a very, like I want that more than I want a candy or something. And I like my candy.
Oh my gosh. I have a client that I work with on Tuesdays, and he's an autistic client, and he loves Branberry donuts.
Oh.
Helped me clean my car yesterday, so I took him to get a donut for a treat. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't had a donut in a long time. I'm going to get one. And I got one. I had one bite, and that was all I could eat. Like right away, I got a sugar high. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot eat this.
Yeah.
Because I like hardly ever eat sugar anymore. So I was like, oh.
I definitely feel a shift, and there's other people that I've talked to that are feeling it as well. Just I don't eat as much. I'm actually started intermittent fasting, which has been really fun and a cool little journey. but I don't like, I'm not wanting the things that I used to want.
Right? Isn't that a beautiful place to be in?
Like what I like about this intermittent and the person, Jen Stevens, she talks about her body, like listen to your body. Like there's intermittent fasting is kind of like, I know that a lot of people are talking about it right now, but it really, like for me, what struck out was like the first paragraph was like, no dieting. We're done with this dieting stuff. And that's been resonating with me for the past year. But it's all about like, listen to your body. And, like, yes, you create the structure around, eating, fasting windows and all of that stuff. But that's been really fun because it's kind of gives me, like, feeds my mental structure side of me, but then allows me to really just tap in. Like, is this a hunger pain, or is this just, this is what was really cool, actually. My body, like, I felt like gurgling, and I was like, ooh, I'm hungry. And then I was like, no, wait, ask your body what it is. And I literally listened to my digestive system just moving. Like, it was so fascinating to me that I'm like,
intuitive eating.
what it's supposed to do, and I'm just witnessing it. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah. No, I definitely, we've talked about, I've gone through many shifts in my diet. I mean, for years, I tried so many different things. And then was vegan for quite a few years, and then started eating meat again. And then I was like, oh, I can't do this. In January, I'm like, I felt awful. I like totally overdid it in December. And I'm like, I need a reset. So I went vegan again in January. And then I found out the first week in February on my human design chart that I'm actually supposed to eat meat. So I had delved into the health layers of it, and not so much chicken and fish, but I am supposed to eat meat. So I call myself an intuitive vegan now. I mostly eat vegan, but when I want meat, I eat meat. When I feel like I need that, then I eat meat. But pretty much everything else is all vegan.
Like, what was big for me, and this relates to what you're saying, is she talks a lot, like, imagine, obviously right now we are in a plentiful, like, you can have food at the drop of a hat in our existence. Obviously there's parts of this country that doesn't happen, but we can go into a pantry and snack, we can do all this stuff. But if you go back to the days of the gathering and hunting, they would hunt to bring it back, eat meat. We did eat, our ancestors ate the meat, but they ate it in spurts because they didn't always have it. Mm-hmm. And their body was able to sustain it and burn it off the way it was supposed to. They had energy and all of that. And I'm like, God, this is so fascinating.
Isn't it?
So fascinating.
So much better. And I've taken it to the whole level of, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. If I go inside and I find out I want something to eat, then I eat it. And it doesn't matter when or what time of day, or that's what I've been listening to now. And I just feel so much better. So much better.
Awesome. Well, Janice mentioned talking about the energy of spring. And it's funny you said that, Janice, because I even like looked at the date, and then before we hit record, I'm like, 3-3. There's got to be something with the 3-3 energy and the springtime. Birds are even acting different. Like, I can feel it when I watch.
Nice weather right now. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. What does spring mean to you, Celeste?
Spring just means new life and rebirth and refocus and re-energize. It's everything.
All the R's.
Yep.
I remember learning, like, as a kid, Bambi, and knowing what spring brought with all the little animals and stuff.
Yep.
I met a new friend, and she was talking about 2020 was her hibernation year. And I always talk that 2020 was my cocoon year. And it's been really interesting in my own life to have that cocoon time, that hibernation time, and the spring, like literally feeling this shift of newness and rebirth and launching, and like it's growth.
Yeah.
We've kind of been dormant within, like the trees go dormant during the winter, going within, they're still alive, we're still alive, but now we're gonna, they're starting coming out and seeing the buds, the flowers and all that stuff's gonna start going. Yeah.
I love it. And it means we're closer to summer, which is kind of my favorite.
too. Me too. Almost probably 60s here right now, blue sky.
I know, it's amazing. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, we're going to the park this afternoon because it's so beautiful out there.
Nice. Yesterday.
Huh?
I did that yesterday.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's a great day.
And planting, like we're going to start planting things and you sow, there's so many analogies with springtime. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time of year.
Yeah.
It breathes that hope back in you. You know what I mean? You spend the winter, well, I mean, not everyone, because some people really thoroughly thrive in the winter. But it is more a time for hibernation. It is meant to be more of a time of staying in and kind of like re-energizing and refocusing, and then spring comes and you're ready to step into it.
Yeah, this year was interesting for me. We've talked about it on here, the Rave New Year. And in my builder group, my generator group, people were talking because we were kind of watching the cycles in that group and how much it's like the shift has come of following that Rave New Year rather than the forced calendar New Year, and truly like allowing just the cycle of life. Like for me, my winter this year was quiet. Like, I mean, my whole last year was quiet, but I really noticed it was quiet for me and I enjoyed it, that I actually get rest during the holidays.
Yeah.
And not worrying about what's next, like Christmas. Okay, then, it's New Year. You gotta start making those goals. You started doing it, but to really just ride that Rave New Year energy. And next year we get to do a course or almost a summit during that, just the intentional power behind that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I noticed that not this year, but last year was the first time that I started following. No, the year before, started following that Rave New Year, and it's so different. It just brings a completely different energy to it.
It does. Agreed.
Yep.
Guess what? We're at that 12:40 mark.
No way. Every time.
Anybody's listening, yeah, take a caller if anybody wants to join in and have a conversation with us, or if you have a question that you want to explore a different perspective, looking for some insight, a mini reading. That's always fun.
We always have fun pulling the cards.
Yes, that too. Now that we talked about that, for those that missed on Celeste's feed, we were talking about tools and using cards simply as a tool.
Right.
If you're new to cards, and all it is just that energy, your higher self talking to you, and they don't lie because you can't lie to yourself.
Yeah, you can try, but
yeah,
I don't like the outcome.
And then just a shout out for next week, we're gonna explore Flip Your Words, Flip Your Life, and I'm gonna wait. But you had your first event with it.
We did not. We had to cancel it, but it's okay. Yeah, due to a possible COVID, what's the word I want to say? Interaction or exposure. Hopefully we'll be done with that pretty soon.
What I was gonna say, like I feel it, that
It's coming.
It is, and it's been a good lesson for all of us. Lots of lessons.
Been a great opportunity for people to really get to know themselves a little more. It really has. I mean, I know some people have struggled, and my heart goes out to that. But it definitely has been an opportunity for so many people to just really go within. I mean, I can't tell you, almost every clubhouse that I've been in kind of brings that up to some point, that it has. 2020 just really allowed people to sit with their energy and see what their life really was and decide, do I want more than just this daily grind of getting up, feeding the kids, feeding myself, walking the dog, going to work, coming home, doing it again, then going to bed and starting all over again?
Yeah. No thanks.
Life is not meant to be just that. It's meant to be so much more. All that stuff is important, but it is meant to be more.
It has been. So we've got a few minutes if anybody has questions, or if you're just new listening in. We're just talking about lots of things. Today is every Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Celeste and I just hop on and have conversations. So if you're looking for if you have a question, needing some assistance, we have, our couple card decks. If you're feeling called to just say, hey, grab a card for me, we can do that.
We are here for you.
About 15 minutes that we can talk about whatever. Any common themes with your clients that are
your wheel spinning now? I'm like, oh, look at her.
Oh, me, like, oh, yeah, it's the silence. Like, it's embracing the moment. Like, generator self, like, let's keep going, let's keep moving, like, okay, well, I could talk about anything, everything, the Energizer Bunny. Although I did coin, I don't know if you saw my text post, that instead of geeking out, I'm going to be generating out.
I liked that. I was like, oh, look at her. I know you have that, and I'm no, we can sit here and be quiet. I'm okay with that. There is nothing wrong with silence sometimes.
There isn't. And it is in those present moments. Janice would love a card. Let's see what deck feels good for Janice. You have yours right there, don't you?
Yes, Janice. Oh, I got body tingles. Oh. Love is your energy. That one popped right out. Right out. I love that card. What does that bring up for you, Stephanie?
Love is who you are. And as I know that you're in it, developing some new things for people that you are going to totally assist them going through life, going through things, and just trust yourself that the love of these people, the people you're serving, will come through your work.
Beautiful. I got that when you're feeling depleted or tired or worn out or just unsure, to remember that self-love and self-care is what you need the most. That is what is going to give you the energy to propel and continue in whatever that you want to do. And I think that when we have those times, we all have those times when we feel like we're not doing enough, or, we're not doing enough is a big one. That if we take that opportunity to say, what do I need in this moment? Because a lot of times when we have those feelings, we go to, oh, this person needs this and this person needs that, and I'm supposed to do this and I made this commitment. No, because when you start feeling that way, it's because you're not taking care of yourself enough. And love of self is what keeps us going. It's loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves that gives us the energy, the motivation, the desire to want to do anything in life.
Yeah, and how cool is it that you are, Janice, you're an example of that. Just over this last year of, you're listening to yourself more and taking those self-love weekends, those self-care weekends, and you get to be an example as you continue to realize that is your energy. Love is your energy. Oh, that's so cool. And being in that will come through.
Absolutely.
No matter what type you're working with, right? Love is all of our energy.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to your body of when it's time to rest and care for yourself.
Or what to eat. Or when to work, or when to take a break.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hope you learn from that one.
We can all take that for sure.
Just thanks. She's glad she turned this on. Us too.
That's a reminder for all of us.
Yeah, it is. A beautiful reminder for all of us. If there's anybody else that would want one or a question, let me check over here on Facebook. I have this in multiple places. Check. We are on YouTube, so if you search for, I don't know if you can search for us. We're
perfect generator. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. I said, I'm picking one for you while you're looking. And then I looked at the card that popped out and I said, this is perfect for a generator. Feel joy in all that you do. I love the universe. Isn't that perfect?
And we were talking about that earlier. Us generators, like really, if we're doing the work that lights us up, it's not work. And like I have noticed this with other people, like saying you're doing too much. No, this isn't too much. Like this is because I'm lit up by it.
Right.
Yeah, because it's the joy. Like, oh, that is such a generator card.
Joy for what you're doing, then you won't burn out. You will have unending energy. It is, and it's beautiful to watch.
It's been fun to tap into it for sure this year, seeing that and realizing what lights me up. And then also, there's some events or some things that the have tos, I hate using that word, but the moments, it's finding joy in all of those moments as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something that I have a commitment on that I said yes to it, and it felt I was in alignment when I said yes. I gotta find joy in it.
So just as you were saying that, another card popped out for you. And it says, worry is a wasted emotion.
Oh, gosh.
So just roll with it. It's going to be fine. It'll be exactly what it's meant to be. And I know we do all have some of those moments, but the goal is to not allow ourselves to be in those moments. The goal is to live completely your strategy and authority so that you can be complete for you and those around you. So it's to lessen those times.
Yeah, and that is a very good reminder that, you and I are both very passionate about bringing out authentic gifts and allowing people the space to be who they're here to be, because the more of us that step into that greatness, the being way of living, then the more joy and happiness. And generators, like, this is a shout out and call out to you. Like, we make up 70% of the population. The more of us that, we keep things going. So choose joy, choose the things that light you up. And it's so fascinating being in a group of generators and seeing the gamut of brilliance with, all these people. I geek out over systems and processes, and it lights me up. And then I talk to another generator and they're like, poke my eyes out if I have to even figure out how this website communicates to that guy. But they're over here like dancing, and that's what lights them up. And although I love dancing, it's not
right.
I'll do that in the back corner. I'll put the video on and I'll just kind of hang out back here. And it's just so cool that we really are not meant to be everything. We can't be everything. We're a piece of this puzzle, and choose joy.
We all have definitions in us, and the more that we can be aware of our openness, then we can live exactly how we are meant to.
Yeah. And sign me up for that world. I mean, we're creating it, but
we're working on it.
Sign me up for that, because
that's why it's so important that we help guide as many parents as possible so that we can raise a society of children that are now living their true authentic selves. What a world this will be.
I hopped on just a really random, I'm in the group, and I just got the hit to just do a little live with the woman that runs the group, and that's what came up was this thought of bi-directional healing. And she's like, oh, what's that? And she's a parent. And I said, it's just, this idea that as we heal ourselves, as a parent, we're healing ourselves, and then we're healing the chain, the ancestral chain, and then we're healing, it's bi-directional healing. Right. And giving children the space to be themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
It takes us as a parent to be aware and be open, and to maybe look at things a little differently than what you were taught,
Mhm.
or how you were parented.
Right. And I think all of us innately do that. All of us. I mean, everybody says, I'm not going to do it the way my parents did, or some things you might, but a lot of things you do, you know what I mean? We always try to be better, but in being better, there's something that our children are then going to say, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? It always happens. So how about if we just teach everyone to be their authentic self? How about if we just give everyone permission to be exactly who they're designed to be?
Yes.
And we don't have to do that.
When as a parent, like this was a aha for me. This was a couple years ago, but I'm like, I'm gonna potentially mess them up anyway. Like even if I believe I'm doing something that is good and right for them, they still have their experiences and their perceptions and how they're seeing things and the programming. And you get into the science of brain development. I mean, just how they perceive how I'm doing could have been too much. Like, me where my life's work is love and I accept it. So I'm just going to accept you as you are. And they might have in their design that they get to have authority and control. Well, so it's like that beautiful dance that they're going to get from me what they see, and there might be some healing that gets to happen later too. And
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. It is what it is, and it's all so important. That's why, like I've told all of my kids, I know that every decision that I made was because I wanted it to be good for them. Was every decision I made while I was raising my children was about them. Now they might not see it that way. You know what I mean? But I know I did the best I could. And I accept that. I know that the experience you had growing up was nothing compared to what I thought I was giving you. But now it's your job to heal from that and decide the person that you're going to be. But to look back on it and be like, oh, my mother used to leave us home all the time. I worked 3 jobs. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying my kids say this. I'm not saying they say that, but you know what I'm saying? We always had to make dinner for ourselves. My mom never made us lunch for school. I didn't. I didn't. My kids knew how to do laundry when they were 8 and 9 years old because I was always working, but it's up to you now. It's up to you to decide how you're going to look back on those lessons and what you're going to learn from them, or if you're going to sit in the misery of, well, I didn't get this when I was growing up and I didn't get that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Not being in that energy, it doesn't help us go forward.
Right. And that idea, like Brene Brown talks a lot about this, that, people doing the best that they can do in the present moment.
Exactly.
Now,
remember that is so key, because if we can remember that, if we can remember in that present moment, was that person trying to do something that was good for me or actually trying to hurt me? Then you don't take things so personally. Then it allows you to step out and realize, you know what? They were doing their best. I know this sucks right now for me, but they were doing the best that they could.
Because it's what they had, or what they were willing to look at. And the next moment could have changed.
Right.
Something could have changed, or the next time. And I think we have a tendency of generalizing childhood and say it was always like this. And was it? Or is that just what we've held on to?
Right.
Because it's that we've seen it. And I know I have worked through, like, I had this, like, my mom was never home. And then when I talked to siblings, like, yeah, she was. And it's like, I remember always being at sitters. Well, actually, as I dove into it, I was at friends' houses because I wanted to be at friends' homes. But to me, I created, I just had this Band-Aid story that mom just basically shipped us off. Well, no, I actually wanted to go. And that's when she just was very carefree and like, you don't have to be home. Go anywhere you need to go. Yeah, have fun. And so it was really interesting for me. Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't my experience. It's so fascinating. Ha! Well, what a fun call.
So the point of today is be your authentic self and let everyone around you do the same.
Yes. And start, if you have tools and fun things, just remember they're tools, because you have everything within. And thanks, Janice, for joining us and listening in today. And next week we are talking about flip your words, flip your life.
Is that one next week? Okay. I couldn't remember if it was that one or human design and gene keys.
Yes.
Yes, it is. No, yes. Is it next week, human design and gene keys? I can't remember.
It's either
Next week to find out if we're discussing flip your words or human design and gene keys. Have your chart ready just in case.
oh boy. Oh boy.
We love you all. We appreciate you hanging in with us, even though we are far from professionals. And just doing this as trying to add our little piece of positive spin in the world.
Right, that's right. So we'll be here next Wednesday, whatever we talk about. And thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a great week.
Yeah.